My name is Jenna Aber, and I'm making this video for my Hughes History Class 2113. In this video exhibit post, I will be your tour guide. We are going to be examining one of the artifacts found in King Tut's tomb. But first, a little background. Who was Tutankhamun? He was the son of the pharaoh Akhenaten. It was due to his relationship with this resented king that his name was stricken from ancient Egyptian records, and so was unheard of until the discovery of his tomb. We know that he rose to take the throne at an early age. He reigned for a short time, the period of his rule being from 1332 to 1323. However, he managed to accomplish a few things during his short reign and life. He was quick to undo some of his father's work, establishing worship of gods formerly discredited. His father, Akhenaten, had established a monotheistic religion. This was unfamiliar and detested by the citizens of Egypt. Tutankhamun reinstated the polytheistic form of worship. The boy king was married and had daughters, who were found buried beside him in his tomb. He died at the young age of 19. The cause of his death is still under debate. The chipped bone in his skull suggests murder by a lethal blow, but more likely that chip was caused by the extraction of the brains during the mummification process. There were also symptoms of bone maldevelopment, which may have caused a fatal crash from his chariot. His death may have resulted from the malaria that was found present in his mummy, but it's still being argued about by the archaeologists today. Being mostly unknown compared to other pharaohs, he is mainly noted by archaeologists for his extravagant, mostly intact, though small tomb. In November 1922, in the famous Valley of Kings, the British archaeologist Howard Carter, hired by Lord Carnarvon, unearthed the tomb of the ancient Egyptian pharaoh Tutankhamun. A quote from Howard Carter reveals what he discovered inside the tomb. Quote, "As my eyes grew accustomed to the light, details of the room within emerged slowly from the mist. Strange animals, statues, and gold. Everywhere the glint of gold. When Lord Carnarvon, unable to stand the suspense any longer, inquired anxiously, 'Can you see anything?' It was all I could do to get out the words, 'Yes, wonderful things.'" End quote. Inside, he discovered 4 chambers, each packed tightly with thousands of valuable artifacts. These artifacts range from tools to toys to Tutankhamun's corpse. The focus of this video will be on one particular artifact, Tutankhamun's golden throne, which was found in the annex of the tomb. The annex was for storing things that would be used in the king's daily life, such as tools, clothing, and chairs. They believed that the king would need such things in his afterlife, and therefore they built it behind the antechamber, so that it would be difficult for any possible tomb robbers to reach. To possess a golden throne was a sign of authority and prestige in the ancient world. This throne was elegantly crafted. It is approximately 3 feet high, 2 feet wide, and 2 feet long. It is made of wood with engraved gold and silver, beautiful colored glass, and semi-precious stones such as turquoise, carnelian, and lapis lazuli. Some of these semi-precious stones, such as lapis lazuli, would have been imported from places such as Badakhshan in Afghanistan, a testament to the extravagance and wealth of the Egyptians. Others, such as carnelian, were taken from the mines found in Egypt, a symbol of the pharaoh's superior rank. You can imagine how the ancient people would have gawked at its awe-inspiring surface. Several images were displayed on the chair. A quote from historycalib.com encompasses the majesty of this marvelous throne. Quote, "The legs are shaped like lion claws, and the front dons the heads of this animal. The arms show symbols of the unification of Upper and Lower Egypt, such as the double crown and the heads of a cobra and a vulture. The wings of the vulture surround the sign of infinity. The symbol on the right arm shows the original name of the pharaoh, Tutankhaten, while the one on the left shows a renewed name of Tutankhamun. This change alludes to the religious restoration produced during his reign after the so-called Amarna period. The throne is accompanied by a footstool carved in wood and covered in stucco and gold leaf. It depicts the enemies of ancient Egypt. They are symbolically trampled on by the pharaoh while seated. A hieroglyphic text clarifies this iconography. 'All the great foreign lands are under your sandals.' The back of the throne shows one of the most beautiful and sentimental scenes in the entire history of ancient Egyptian art. It is the direct heir to the characteristic representations of the Amarna period, used to show the royal family in intimacy, in an affectionate attitude. A clear antecedent of this scene is the stele of Akhenaten and Nefertiti playing with their daughters, which is also found in the Cairo Museum. The young pharaoh appears seated on his throne, entertained by his wife and his sister, Ankhensunamun. Ankhensunamun is crowned by a sun disk surrounded by 2 large feathers. She wears a large breastplate and wears an informal robe. She is applying scented ointment to her husband's shoulders. He wears a large composite crown and appears dressed in bracelets, a pectoral, and a long skirt." End quote. The Egyptian kings were virtually viewed as gods among the royal subjects, and so the throne was used to exalt him as he ruled his kingdom. Tut's throne could also have been used to show his love for his wife and family. We can infer that the enemies on Tut's throne were most likely the Nubians and the Asiatic Hyksos, given that the same enemies were depicted on his sandals. It is a repeated theme throughout ancient Egyptian artifacts to trample one's enemies. There were 2 major kinds of thrones. The University of California says, quote, "A basic one of the gods and of Pharaoh as their heir and successor that had the shape of a square box, and a secular one that incorporated a pair of lions into a stool or chair and depicted Pharaoh as a powerful ruler of the world." End quote. Kings' thrones were sometimes used for rituals, such as the Sed festival, which was basically a renewal of the king's power after 30 years. The thrones were involved in one of the stages of this ritual, in which the king would sit on the throne wearing the crown of Upper Egypt, then sit on another throne wearing the crown of Lower Egypt. Queens such as Hatshepsut were also given thrones. King Tut's golden throne is an example of beauty and intricacy that the ancient peoples were capable of. The throne is currently being held in the Grand Egyptian Museum in the city of Giza and is valued at $17 million, the value of the contents of the whole tomb being $1 billion. It never ceases to amaze me how long some of these ancient artifacts have survived, and it makes me think of how wonderful it is that God made humans with the ability to create beautiful objects. Let us think of the wonder of God's rule whenever we take a look at something as influential and elegant as the throne. For this throne was buried thousands of years ago and shall one day crumble into nothing, a representation of how all human kingdoms eventually crumble into nothing. But Christians may rejoice in the throne that lasts forever in heaven, and that we will one day rule alongside the King who shall never pass away. King Tut died, was buried, and was forgotten, but we serve the King who died, was buried, and rose again, conquering death, a King who shall never fade away. That wraps up this video. Thank you.